Were you gaslighting me when you apologized, or were you gaslighting me when you called me a bitch, or both?
I don't know. I feel like I'm being gaslighted now. I'm pretty sure I was just kidding around in both cases.
Oh, so you weren't kidding around about calling me a bitch, or you weren't kidding around about apologizing?
I'm still getting gaslighted now.
God, show up soon, kids. This is why we can't have a podcast, just the two of us.
A shin show.
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 The neighbors put ruts in our yard. They can fix it.
You say that, and yet I don't care about it.
But why not? Where's your dignity? Where is your pride? That's like if they had just come over and taken their dicks out and pissed right on our yard.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you like a sake thing?
Sure.
Okay, good. It's all settled then. Sake things for everyone.
But what am I going to do with all this misplaced rage?
I don't know. Maybe you can channel it into yoga.
I don't think you're supposed to be ragey during yoga. Like, I'm pretty sure it's the opposite of what's supposed. Although maybe if you bring your rage to the mat, it will work itself out.
Yeah, do that glow yoga in the hot room with your rage.
Fuck that.
I don't know what that means. Those were a series of words that were strung together that were nevertheless not meaningful.
Hot yoga. Like, that's all you need to take away from that.
Yeah.
Which is, no thank you. I will pass out. If I get any more sweaty during yoga than I already do in a fucking 72-degree room, I will pass out.
Speaking of which, though, did you see on Netflix the documentary about the hot yoga guy who was a creep?
That's why I am here.
Bikram called me out of class and into his office, and he said, what are we going to do about us? Should we make this a relationship? And it was just like, oh my God. I don't want to say that I was brainwashed, but that's what was happening.
You are not intelligent, wise, experienced enough to understand who I am. It's not over.
Is that the episode that King of the Hill is based off of?
Probably so. I don't know. I'd have to look up that King of the Hill episode.
It's pretty funny.
We've been doing these stretches for half an hour. When do we start the yoga?
Hank, do you tell your blood to start moving through your veins or the air to start filling your lungs? You probably do.
You know, Vince Lombardi won 5 championships without ever using sarcasm.
He ends up taking yoga and is really ashamed about it. And his yoga instructor's a fucking creep. But it's the only thing that helps his back pain. So he sticks through it. And then he like
yoga instructor a creep.
He like fucking does weird shit with his body, and he's condescending and, you know, hits on the women in his class who all love him for it. He ends up having to go to court to settle his whole anger management shit. And he has to explain to them that he took yoga. And he ends up bringing his creepy yoga instructor to court with him.
I can attest that he came to class complaining of debilitating back pain, attended 3 classes, and he left. He bought no merchandise and complained about the incense.
And he, like, creepy yoga instructor holds the mic in front of his face with his foot over his shoulder. That's what I remember from that episode.
Well, anyway, there's a documentary on Netflix about this particular guru who is, of course, gross and disgusting, but in fabulous shape, in fairness.
And isn't that what it's all about?
Hey, so here's what we did last night. We watched Fargo the movie.
The old one?
Yes, the originator, not the imitator. The OG, the 1996 with Steve Buscemi, Frances McDormand, and other people.
William H. Macy among them.
Indeed. And it looked great on our TV because everything looks great on our TV. But I have to admit, I've now seen it so many times that what used to be shocking and in some ways titillating is now, I've just seen it too much. I hate to admit it, I have seen that movie too many times.
That's me and Boondock Saints.
All we know is what we found out from the neighbors, and the general consensus is they're angels.
Is it that you've seen the movie too many times, or is it that there have been so many better movies you've seen now that it just doesn't, it's not up to snuff anymore?
I just think that I've seen it too many times. I still think it's a good film, but since it was Elsie's first time seeing the film, perhaps she would be a better judge of whether or not it's truly a classic or whether or not she thinks it will hold up after repeated viewings for her.
I will say that I don't feel inclined to ever see it again. And I like a Coen Brothers film as much as anyone else. The Big Lebowski I could watch a million more times.
Wait, let me explain something to you. I am not Mr. Lebowski. I'm the dude. You know, that or his dudeness or duder or, El Duderino if you're not into the whole brevity thing. This could be a lot more complex. I mean, it might not be just such a simple, you know?
But, I found Fargo just meh. But I did love that they kept just describing Steve Buscemi as a funny-looking man.
Well, the little guy, he was kind of funny-looking.
In what way?
I don't know, just funny-looking.
Can you be any more specific?
I couldn't really say. He wasn't circumcised.
Was he funny-looking apart from that?
Yeah.
Is there anything else you can tell me about him?
No. Like I say, he was funny-looking. More than most people, even.
They ain't wrong.
Right, they nailed it.
In no particular way, just funny looking, you know?
Right.
Well, what this guy look like, anyways?
Oh, he's a little guy, kind of funny looking.
Uh-huh. In what way?
Oh, just in a general kind of way.
I watched Real Big Fish for the first time fairly recently.
The fuck is that?
I think it's by Tim Burton, actually, but it's like this guy tells fantastical stories and goes on a big adventure.
In telling the story of my father's life, it's impossible to separate fact from the fiction, the man from the myth. The best I can do is to tell it the way he told me.
You ever notice that there's no black people in any Tim Burton movie ever?
I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, I read a statement by him that was like, yeah, black people don't like fit into my style of art. And I was like, what? Dude, you make
Skinny and
animated
creepy.
movies. Dude, they're skinny and creepy. Like, you make animated movies, so what does that mean they don't fit into your style of art?
It means he's racist.
Yeah. Does that mean you're incapable of making a non-racist cartoon depiction of a black person?
Yeah, that's exactly what that means.
Tim Burton.
A Real Big Fish is about a man who's dying of some sort of cancer, and his son is trying to come visit him at the end of his life, and he's having a baby, and he's like, hey, Dad, do you have any advice for me? And he hates talking to his dad because his dad tells tall tales, or so he thinks.
He just assumes for no reason that his dad's just a liar.
Well, because he tells tall, exaggerated tales. Steve Buscemi's in that movie. Is the point of that.
And Danny DeVito, which is pretty great.
And Danny DeVito.
So the son is played by Steve Buscemi, and the mom is Steve Buscemi in a wig and lipstick.
Narrated by Danny DeVito.
Yes. No.
Well, that's the one I want to see. That's the Snyder cut.
You need to.
I want to see the porn version of that one.
Yeah.
Put your own copy up on YouTube.
Dude, deep fakes are getting good enough. I think you could like now deep fake celebrities' faces onto porn stars' bodies. You know what I mean?
Probably.
You can make that Steve Buscemi on Steve Buscemi.
Why God would you want to?
I mean, not me, but like a friend. A friend who told me in confidence that, that's something
it's
they
not
might be
for me.
interested in seeing. It's definitely not for me.
Right.
I'm just trying to procure something like this for my friend, my very real.
I'm a salesman. What can I say?
My friend's a sick fuck.
Speaking of your friend, is it Josh? Is it your friend Josh? And is it the one true Josh?
No, although that did happen in like just outside of Lincoln, Nebraska.
It was just outside Lincoln. I was wondering where in Nebraska the big Josh battle took place.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah. It was a meme from like 2010.
Yeah. And then it just turned into this because people have gone absolutely insane during quarantine.
No. They were always insane. I'm pretty sure the meme was originally posted on Tumblr, which goes to show you how insane it was.
I mean, it was a Facebook.
Was it?
Post. It was like this dude looked up all the names, all the people on Facebook, because on Facebook there's gonna be people who have your exact name, and he added a group, added them all in a group. And was like, I bet you're all wondering why I've gathered you here today. And then they're like, one of them's like, is it because we all have the exact same name? And then he just like posts these coordinates. He's like, these coordinates, all of us will meet here to fight to the death. Whoever wins, or just to fight for the name. He should have said fight to the death, and whoever wins gets to keep the name, and everyone else has to go fuck themselves and their stupid fucking asses.
When did this happen? Because the one true
I guess
Josh...
a year ago, because he said you have a year to prepare in the thing that I saw. It's all pretty fucking
I thought
stupid.
this was long ago.
Well, it could have been that the meme started off something long ago, and then someone took it to the next step on Facebook. I don't know.
Maybe,
I don't know if somehow this fucking dumb anomaly occurred.
I know that like a
through
6-year-old one.
I heard it was a 5-year-old. It's big
I
difference.
didn't read the article.
Great. Yeah, I'm sure he'll cherish that moment for the rest of his life.
Right. He's not named Josh, but he's won the name Josh.
His old name is dead.
He'll have a very
That's his dead name now.
clear recollection of what happened. He's dead and canceled.
This Josh rose like a phoenix from the ashes of pool noodles.
I hate to keep using this dude as like fodder, but I was hanging out with Dave last night and he was like, did you hear about this Dr. Seuss? They're trying to cancel Dr. Seuss, which happened a long time ago, like a few months ago.
Okay, yes.
And I'm like, bro, Dr. Seuss was a piece of shit. What did he do?
Yeah.
Did he put the cat in hat in blackface or something in the 30s? And now everybody, I'm like, he was a piece of shit because his wife had cancer and killed herself because he was fucking other people. And you can look up her suicide note. She's
And
like,
he was racist, wasn't he?
I'm sure, yeah, but I'm like, he's dead. Like, why are we canceling corpses?
No.
We're
It
canceling
wasn't
corpses.
So it was their publisher who said, yeah, this probably isn't to taste anymore. Let's go ahead and take it off the shelves.
And that's just a few of the books. Many other books. Hey, look, we're coming into the season of graduations, and that means there's going to be a surge in sales of the places you'll go.
Is that racist?
No.
Is that a racist one?
No.
Point is, Dr. Seuss's estate's going to be aight.
Yeah, I know.
That's
but,
true.
Okay, so it probably wasn't even that anybody was outraged and got...
People were.
Well, they were after... It was someone making a reasonable statement.
Yes.
The publisher saying, okay, this isn't necessary anymore, so we're going to take this off the shelves. And then that trickled through whatever...
The
social
telephone.
media, down the telephone, down the grapevine. And people were like, yeah, cancel Dr. Seuss. I was seeing that. We're canceling Dr. Seuss. He's dead. Why are we canceling people posthumously?
No, Simon and Schuster or whatever is taking the books off the shelves as them canceling Dr. Seuss. And they were canceling the problematic aspect of a book he wrote fucking 75 years ago. Good for them.
Yeah, great job. You did it. Everyone's saved.
And it's a publisher. So, like, they're not going to do something that impacts their profits. It's okay. Like Dad said, Dr. Seuss's estate lives on.
So I will
Canceling Corpses is cool. That'd be like a cool band name.
The Cursed Seed opening for Canceled Corpses.
Hell yeah.
Dope.
But I will say this about that, which is that I think why people really got upset is most of the things that were canceled or, won't be continued to be published is a bunch of shit nobody ever heard of. But one book in particular is...
And to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street, which was one of my favorite books as a kid.
So that's just it. So that particular story, I think, resonates with a lot of Generation X in particular, because it just, I don't know, it just seemed to be a thing that we all read and all loved and all enjoyed. And so initially my response, too, was like, what the fuck? Why are they canceling? And to think I saw it on Mulberry Street. And then they highlighted the pieces of that and the imagery that went with it on those pages. And I was like, yeah.
Okay, it's a little dicey.
What are we talking to? What are we referring to?
Well, for example, there was the line, and then Barney the came walking down the street.
Oh, boy. Okay. Well, that's unnecessary.
Well, in the 30s, that was totally appropriate. That was the vernacular you
I don't know about appropriate, but...
This was published in the 50s, and that's not true anyway. That's not an example of what...
That was the vernacular. Well, I don't know if it was appropriate, but it was the vernacular that was used.
Sure, yeah. There's still vernacular now that's a little...
questionable.
Dicey.
Yeah.
That we should be turning a jaundiced eye to.
Right, which apparently is not racist, even though it sounds racist.
Very racist, especially in a conversation directly talking about Chinese people. But whatever.
And there is a whole thing in Mulberry Street, too, about the yellow people. So...
all right. Okay.
All right.
And there it is. Well, maybe we should cancel Dr. Seuss, actually.
Yeah, we need to look at it with a jaundiced eye, for sure.
Let's dig up Dr. Seuss's corpse and look upon it with a jaundiced eye.
And then cancel that motherfucker.
We'll show him. And he'll be sorry.
But in all seriousness, Dr. Seuss did as Theodore Geisel. He was a member of the U.S. Army in the war, part of the team that helped do these propaganda cartoons for U.S. soldiers. Hey, when you kill a Jap there, buddy, you're going to want to make sure that you run that bayonet right through his heart. It was that kind of propaganda.
Is the cat in fatigues?
I mean, it was the Lorax.
I am the Lorax, and kill your enemy.
I am the Lorax. I speak for the...
I am the Lorax. Kill the enemy or you will be put in chains.
Oh, Dr. Seuss.
You think those internment camps are just for Japanese citizens, eh?
Well, you've got another thing coming, right?
Anyway, so Dr. Seuss, still dead.
That's the update on that.
Take.
That is the update on that.
Take.
There's been a lot of space news this week, man. A lot of space news.
Yeah.
Man, fuck space.
Fuck you.
We flew a helicopter on Mars, for Christ's sake, for the third fucking time. But they said it was the first interplanetary flight on another world, and that's actually not true. People always say something with propellers, for some reason, is better than a balloon. But we flew a balloon on Venus. More specifically, the Soviets flew a balloon in the upper atmosphere of Venus in consultation with the French. The French put the experiment together. The Soviets flew it to Venus, and it flew in the upper atmosphere of the third planet. Or is it the second planet from the sun? Second planet from the sun, yeah. And it flew in the atmosphere of the sun. Well, it also flew in the atmosphere of the third planet from the sun en route to the atmosphere of the second planet.
They did the up thing. It was a Soviet thing, so they just put a bunch of helium balloons in someone's house and flew it to Venus.
It wasn't quite like that, but it was similar. So it's not technically, from my point of view, the first flight on another world.
I think I remember reading something about how there's like some kind of photoelectric bacteria. There's signs that there could be some kind of living microbial bacteria in the atmosphere of Venus.
It's a fact that we think that it might be true.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Okay.
Right.
We think that about a lot of shit. I'm just saying.
It's true. Some of it turns out to be right, though. It's hot in there. It's got a lot of these weird gases and elements that I know absolutely nothing about.
I'm not going to lie. When you opened your statement with I read something about microbial whatever, you sounded pretty smart, but you're losing it now.
I am a microbiologist, so...
You had to think about that one, didn't it? I heard the hesitation.
Microbiologist.
I mean, you pulled through.
Yeah, I did.
You were a little shaky in the middle.
Yeah, it's fine. Anyway, fuck Venus.
And fuck space.
And fuck space. That's the official stance from this corner.
I understand that is your official stance, but it is pretty exciting that they did get this helicopter going on Mars, and it does bode well for future helicopter flights on other planets. All of that said, SpaceX also launched 4 astronauts to the International Space Station. I saw the video of those cats getting together, and it looked like a family reunion, everybody in khakis and polo shirts. If at your family reunion everyone wore khakis and polo shirts, that's what that family reunion would look like.
I read a headline that said Elon Musk is pretty confident that he can get people to the moon by 2024.
Wait, what? It takes 3 years to get to
No,
the moon?
2024 is 3 years away from this current
What
date.
the fuck? That was crazy.
How much pot have you smoked, son? I mean,
actually, not that much.
I
but it's
know.
pretty good.
That's a thing.
One, it was recent.
It's pretty good kush.
So, no, it doesn't take you 3 years to get to Mars, but we're not even close.
I said
to
the
getting...
fucking moon, man. So
Nobody-
how much pot have you smoked? I was talking about the moon.
But the moon is so much closer than Mars that I figured you knew when I said it didn't take 3 years to get to Mars that moon was inclusive of that, because moon is only 280,000 miles away, whereas Mars is like 60 million miles away.
You think you can just bash your way out of this with logic and reason?
No, it's all bullshit. He's baffling you with bullshit right
I
now.
guess I cut him off right after he said Mars, so he has plausible deniability of saying my sentence was going to imply that there was an inclusion of the moon. But I think he thought that I said Mars, and he said Mars, so he's fucking up just as much as I am. Which, honestly...
You guys are like hitting each other with bullshit bats to see which one sticks first.
Pool noodles. It's like a
noodles.
battle for Josh.
Only it's the battle
it's
to see who's most fucking stupid.
Only this one matters. Only the stakes are way fucking higher in this one.
Yeah, except I bet you guys can't even fucking remember what you're arguing about.
I can.
Something about moon and Mars. Look,
Fuck
here's the
Venus.
point. Fuck Venus and fuck space.
And fuck Elon Musk and SpaceX.
On the subject of SpaceX, Elon Musk saying that he can land something on the moon on 2024. When is the last time that guy has met a deadline? Seriously, when is the last time he has said, we're going to do something by this date, and it happened by that date?
Successfully? Never, but that's what he does. He sets impossible goals so that, he knows they're not achievable, but he does it so that he can...
There's pressure.
Crack the fucking whip on his...
Now you've got publicity involved,
employees.
And he can push the blame off on the engineers and whatnot. The slave workers and the
slave
salt
workers.
mines.
Well, the salt mines at Boca Chica, Texas have produced 4 Starship prototypes. All 4 of them have blown up. The last one blew up in spectacular fashion in mid-flight. The third one actually
Are you being
landed.
serious?
Yes, totally.
salt mines were making spaceships.
Well, that part, no.
Is that not what he just fucking said? He
Yeah,
said
but
the
you're-
salt mines in
Yes.
Bogategas.
Oh my god, dude. The salt mines part was hyperbolic,
He said
yes.
salt mines in Bogatega.
Boca Chica. First of all, that's where the Starship launch facility is at. Is in Boca
Fucking
Chica,
hell.
Texas.
Oh my god.
Let me help you out there, bud.
So they
The
have a
salt-
launch site at the salt mines in Bodega,
There's
Texas.
not really salt mines.
There's no salt involved, but yes.
Oh, the salt mines is a sarcastic
It's euphemistic.
play
Yes.
on the whole slavery thing.
Correct.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
you
Now-
got it.
That one I
Now
needed-
we're picking up.
I needed to be explained to me.
Isn't it funnier now?
No, well, the fog of mystery has lifted at least.
Oh my
So-
god.
The fog of mystery for who?
Well, for me, obviously. I got completely lost there.
Let me get you back on track because the question is, are they ever going to get one of these starships off the ground and then back on the ground without exploding? And I'm interested to see what happens in the next one, that's for sure.
Starship. It's cool to call it a starship. I like
it is.
that.
I do too.
like that. I bet the marketing boys had a hand in that, you know?
I'm
Well,
sure
I mean,
they
it's
do.
hard to fuck it up when Star Trek did it first.
Starship, what are you talking about? Star Trek never called a Star Trek ship Star. I guess
It's the
yeah.
Starship
I
Enterprise.
guess it
How many
is, yeah.
Starship.
Oh my god. Sarah, what are we doing with these two right now? Jesus.
No, it was Star Wars was the first one to call anything a starship.
That's not true. Star Trek.
Star Trek came first.
It did come first. It was the Starship
first.
Enterprise.
These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise.
Just saying the thing they say at the beginning does not prove any chronological superiority.
No, but it does prove A, that they called it that because Dad said that was bullshit. And then B, Wikipedia, my dude. Why do I have to
It's
prove
not like I
to
don't
you?
believe you.
How am I going to prove to you in this
You have a
moment?
computer right there. You got Google. That's how. That's how you prove everything now. But how much sooner did it come out than Star Wars?
20 years.
No, it did not come
What?
out 20 years. It came
10
out
years.
exactly 11 years in advance.
Okay.
So the first Star Trek show was what, in the 60s?
Yeah.
It was September 8th, 1966 was the premiere of Star Trek. And I know that because your beloved grandmother, Pat, she brought me home from the hospital on September 8th. And the first thing she did while she was nursing me was watch Star Trek.
And you know that how?
It's a fun bedtime story, Nick.
Oh, okay.
My mother told me that. Now, she
Okay.
could have been a goddamned liar.
If that's what you're accusing right now.
But it is confirmed on Wikipedia that that date is accurate. That's the premiere of Star Trek, September 8th, 1966.
Yeah, I mean, I believe you guys that it came out first. I just didn't know. I just thought, you know.
That's 3 days after my birthday. So it seems now that your grandmother's not a fucking liar, doesn't it?
She might be. Just not about that.
The defense rests.
Okay.
All right, well.
You were the one tarnishing Grandma Pat's name there. I just want to throw that out.
Very good.
I was?
No, he was implying that I was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was. I wasn't implying that my mother was a liar. I was implying that Nick was stupid.
Which, you know.
Always an easier thing to prove.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, you can just listen to the conversation.
For the past 25 minutes.
Sure. Oh, yeah. I was talking to Sarah about this. I watched a documentary on the making of the latest God of War game. It brought me to tears like 3 times.
Hello. Okay, well. So they're gonna go out in the beginning of the game.
What are we hunting?
Hold.
Hello, everyone. I'm Corey Barlog. I'm the director of the game, and I make their lives completely miserable.
Doubt is the demon that lives in the ear of every person in this industry.
It was just so fucking, it's such a crazy ass journey. One of the developers of the studio, she said something when she was getting ready to launch. She just said, like, Corey and all the other guys, like, they're too close to this thing to see how good it is. Because they were fucking so sure that no one was going to like this shit. And they were like, if we don't do this, if we don't pull this off, we're all fired. Like, we're not going to get another chance. They gave us a lot of money to do this thing. Sony gave us a lot of money, and if we don't do it, it's not going to be good. But like, without having watched that or knowing any of that, you play that game, and then you're like, it's just so crazy that there was ever any doubt in these guys' minds that this was not going to be the best fucking. All the scenes in that game are shot like a movie. They hired actors, put on the mocap shit, and it just shows him. He's like, all right, we're going to shoot scene 1. We'll start at 2. When I call action after that, we're going to come back to 3 and shoot scene 2. Someone want to write that down for me? And it's just like, oh my God, this dude had to direct this game like a movie. And it worked. It was so fucking good.
I understand it's one of the best games that's ever been produced, in part because of that one-shot approach to the video game.
And then the interviewer asked these 2 ladies who are like heads of the studio, what are some of the sacrifices you like have to make when you're making a game of this caliber? And the one lady on the left gives some bullshit answer, and the other lady on the right just like a tear comes out of her eye, and she's like, I'm not going to answer that question. And you're like, holy fucking shit.
Damn.
Like it consumed everybody's life for like 5 or 6 years. And like, you know, there was keeping a lid on it. Nobody knew anything about it.
I would love to have watched you play that game.
Yeah, I said that too. I said, you know, my dad used to I was talking to Taylor because I got Taylor into that game and she's played it like 3 times now.
You know,
without even playing the other God of War games. You know what I mean?
First of all,
you have to play that game.
Second of all, you should stream it on Twitch. And then you should do it with dad watching. That would make for good viewing.
Well, that would make for a good viewing. Because here's the
thing. You could do a split screen sort of dad reacting to you playing it.
Yeah, and dad has seen me play the other God of War games.
Right.
And in the other God of War games...
grown up.
Yeah, and you too. You were the first one to play it. I watched you play the first one.
That's because it was fucking awesome.
It was a fucking long time ago. It was like 15 years ago now.
It was on the PS2, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was on PS2. So was the second one. But anyway, you know, he's just some savage killing machine that kills everyone and destroys everything.
The God of War.
Yeah, and then like over time, people started to get tired of that shit. He was like a typecast character. So he knew like he had to like remake who he was. And it's now that Kratos is like a closeted human. Instead of this savage killing machine, and he has a son now. He has one more shot at a family. And the kid is teaching the god how to be a human, and the fucking god is teaching the kid how to be a god.
I know you're a god. Not of this realm, but there's no mistaking it. He doesn't know, does he? About your true nature or his own?
It's a touching story.
Yeah, it's really good. And the next one's going to come out soon. I think it's this year.
Okay, but legitimately, I want to set that shit up.
Set what up?
Some kind of streaming thing where you play, dad watch it.
I have a Twitch already.
By the way, Shin Show has a Twitch too.
Well, you can post it to both platforms.
We can cross-post and cross-dress if we like. We're Americans.
Nick's done that before.
That'd be fun.
Let's play the God of War game while I watch on dressed in women's apparel.
We both wear wigs and lipstick and dresses.
Playing the Buffalo Bill song in the background.
Yeah, lightly.
Wearing Steve Buscemi masks.
Movie quality Steve Buscemi masks. Like
of course.
Of course.
$600-700 rigs. But can't play Goodbye Horses. Dude, the fucking soundtrack in that game, the composer, like went to Iceland and hired like a group of Icelandic choir boys to fucking sing the theme because it's all in a fucking, you know, it's a like Nordic, Scandinavian shit.
That is a great wellspring of mythic tradition, of course, is the Norse tradition.
Well, and there's a wellspring of mythic tradition in everything. They were going to do an Egyptian Mayan. That would be so fucking cool.
So cool, dude.
Except we don't really know anything about them, you know?
Yes, we do.
You just don't know because they weren't Greek. And so,
well, however much we do know it, because they weren't Greek. However much we do know about them is surely 1% of the Spanish burned all their shit. And the disease killed all of them so quickly they were not.
There are still Mayans to this day.
Who know a thing or two about being Mayans and their history
guess.
And their culture. I don't really know what they know.
Such a sprawling empire like that with only a few fucking survivors, like you're just not, there's so much knowledge that's going to be lost about them.
Yes, but that doesn't mean that we know nothing about them.
Well, you know what?
I am telling you that I have audited enough of Sandy's papers to know a little bit about it.
Okay, but like she learned that from out of a textbook.
Correct. That's colonized and all that shit. I get that. However, even with that, there is more knowledge than you think there is.
Yeah, I get, and you could just make shit up.
There's enough to do a video game. I think we can agree with that.
Like, yes. Whatever gaps in the knowledge there is, if no one knows what it is, you could just make shit up.
Is where the artistic license comes in.
Yeah, you just make it up.
All right.
Mayans were one thing, but there was a lot of other ones like the Olmecs, Aztecs. The Olmecs were like supposedly the biggest and earliest.
Isn't that what the Road to El Dorado was about? Was the Olmecs?
Maybe. I'm not exactly sure.
They might have been Aztec.
But it was a lot of fucking gold down there.
You could do all kinds of gods of war. You could do gods of war for the Zulu people.
Chinese religion, Japanese.
I mean, that is the Poppy Wars.
I don't even know what the fucking religion is called. Although there is this game coming out called Wukong. I don't know.
Ain't nothing to fuck with.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. Okay. I see what you did there.
Thanks for the assist.
I thought clan with a K and I was like, what? But this Wukong game is a game where you...
That was what I thought immediately too, Sarah. I was like, why is he talking about the Wu-Tang Clan?
Wu-Tang and Wukong. All right, there's this game called Wu-Tang Wukong. Wu-Tang. Anyway, you play as a fucking character that's traditionally in... I'm going to sound real racist here. It's either Chinese or... The thing is you play as a monkey guy with a staff, and it's like the first AAA game to come out of China. It's a Chinese game. But I've seen a lot of like stuff in old school Japanese anime about a fucking monkey with a staff. That's Goku's whole story. He's like the monkey kid with the staff.
Yeah.
So I don't know what mythology it's supposed to be, but it looks fucking sick. And
what was that game that came out? You're like a samurai?
The Ghost of Tsushima.
Samurai, you are a warrior. I can see that. You trained your whole life for this. So I will ask you once again, Samurai. Do you surrender?
That shit was fucking hard too. Really hard. That shit was dope.
When you say hard, do you mean difficult or cool?
Cool. It was very cool.
Thanks for the clarification.
Fucking beautiful. Like, and there's no like HUD.
Oh, yeah.
And like the direction you need to go is the way the wind blows. Like if it's a big open world thing. So if you need to know where to go, you just like swipe up on the thing and the wind just blows in the direction you're supposed to go.
That's kind of cool.
So it's like a fucking movie, and you can do it. I did it for a little bit, but I undid it because the game's beautiful. But you can make it black and white and like all, old timey samurai movie film thing.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
It could be like a very cinematic experience.
Didn't you play as a Japanese wolf one time, Sarah?
For Okami, yeah.
Yes, that's another great game that I have on my Switch.
Me too.
It's a really cool premise. They should remake that game.
Why do something again like that?
People do it all the time. As a matter of fact, they just did it with Destroy All Humans. They remade Destroy All Humans. And it is fucking awesome. But Destroy All Humans came out in like 2004 or 5. So it looked rough. Now it looks like how I remember it looking when I was a kid.
I saw on Reddit the progression of Lara Croft between 1996 and 2021. The advances in gaming graphics are unbelievable.
From pointy boobs to cinematic
boobs.
Fuckable Angelina Jolie.
Straight triangles, pyramids, polygons.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you just use more polygons and use...
To an infinite degree.
Yeah, you use so many polygons that it looks like an actual tit.
Because that's the important part. We all know.
Jiggle physics.
For sure.
You joke, but jiggle physics is a real...
I know, I'm not joking.
It's a very well-studied field, okay?
Yeah, precise. It's all part of the 3D
Very
animation.
mathematical.
What doctorate do you need to properly study this field?
Jiggle physics.
PhD in jiggle physics.
You know, like astrophysicists, okay?
Yeah.
Jiggle physicists.
Hell yeah.
With a, what's that? A minor in non-Newtonian fluids.
You can get into that field, though, with a master's degree in boobies.
Boobs.
Oh, shit. That's funny.
I'm glad we had that discussion. Hey, on another note, Derek Chauvin is going to prison for the rest of his life. Good for him.
Doubt it.
Good for him.
So how many years was he sentenced to?
His sentencing will take place sometime in the next, I forget. They said when they're going to sentence him, but it'll be some weeks from now.
If he got 15, then he's going to serve 7.5. Maybe even sooner than that. He may be up for parole sooner because he's a cop. And
it's hard to say because of all of the media attention if they're going to make an example out of him or not.
Maybe. Too little, too late to me.
Well, this stuff about defund the police, I still don't think that makes any goddamn sense.
You can't defund the police. That's stupid.
Why?
So here's the point of defund the police. It's not to really defund the police. It's to take money out of their budget for these more assault-style weapons that they don't need. Like, they don't need to be buying tanks left over from the army. They need to use that money towards the medical health professionals who should be called on some of these 911 calls. Because some of these times, these calls, it's really that there's a mentally deranged person who would be better to deal with from a medical health professional with maybe a backup as opposed to just two random dudes with guns.
The cops just don't need tanks. Like, not completely defund them, but like, give them a gun and a taser, and then they're good. Like, you don't need assault weapons. Leave that to the fucking National Guard, the military. Military weapons belong in the hand of the military.
Have you read the case study of the New Jersey town that defunded the police? It was the police commissioner who was like, yeah, fuck it, let's defund our police department and start over, basically.
Defund to what degree?
They fired everyone, got rid of the police department, rebranded as like a community outreach shit, and then rehired certain people. And I don't know.
Did they have guns?
Yeah, they had guns. I'm pretty sure they had fucking guns. Because guess what?
Know.
In this country, you can't really police without guns because every motherfucker has a gun. So
everybody's got a gun. Like, someone will just, you're going to show up with just a nightstick on some gang shit? Halt right there. Halt. You are under
talking
arrest.
out of both sides of your mouth, though.
What do you mean?
To what caliber of weapon do they need then?
A fucking pistol, or maybe a shotgun. Anything besides that, then now it's if you need to, it's very simple. If you are in a situation that calls for military grade weapons, then call in the fucking military, the guys who are trained. If it's some situation that requires anything less than that, that's what the cops do. You're just a fucking goon with a gun who can make sure everyone behaves. But if it's on some shit that if you like, it's some organized thing where you now need to use exceptional military hardware, then that calls for the military. That's what the goddamn fucking National Guard is for.
You know what else we need? Like an actual 4-year degree for policing.
Yeah, dude, the training, the screening, like all of it is a half-assed shit show. All these half measures they have to go through to become police. The training sucks. The screening sucks.
Yeah.
We move them around like how they move fucking priests in the Catholic Church.
There are some police forces, though, that do it right. I know this is going to sound...
Not enough.
This is going to sound strange to you, given that the Capitol Police had an enormous failure on January 6th, but almost every member of the Capitol Police that I ever met was a graduate of a 4-year program, or was going through a 4-year program and was on the verge of graduating. Almost all those cats had college degrees.
So great. So just if you're going to be a citizen, just make sure it's in the Capitol. At least those Capitol Police won't choke you, won't execute you in the street. They cannot be allowed to execute you in the street. You can't just do that and go get a pension. You cannot do that. When you get away with that, when you have an unshakable, unbreakable, invincible, ironclad police union that will get you out of every fucking thing, other cops see that and they know that there's no repercussions to their actions, and they do terrible things. How many cops have been brought up on sexual assault charges, pull some chick over and just rape her because what the fuck are you going to do? I'm the cops, bitch. Who are you going to call?
So tear the whole system down. What is defunding? What is taking away their weapons going to do?
No one's talking about taking away their pistols or their tasers. We're talking about taking away their military weapons. But what I'm talking about, I have some experience in a military environment in which if you have somebody who doesn't have the right heart, you're going to have abuse. And that was the training environment. I used to train officer candidates, did it for years. And you had power over those people. You had power over their career. You had power as to whether or not they were going to achieve the most important goal in their lives for many of them. And that's power that you can't buy. And so if you had a bad heart, you were in the wrong line of work. And it's the same for policing, because you are in a position of power. And when you're in a position of power, you have to have the right heart. And that's true whether you're a policeman or whether you're a teacher or whether you're a politician. And I have to admit, I saw precious few politicians who truly had a good heart. But nevertheless...
Dad, no asshole can just walk up and be a flight commander. Some asshole can walk up and join the force. It's not like you got your job, you and the people in your line of work at that time got that job on accident, or that it was easy. You had to have credentials, many years of training, degrees.
All of that is true. But nevertheless, we still had on our staff someone who slipped through and had a bad heart. And when I say bad heart,
what was their first and last name and what happened?
Show us on the doll where they touched you.
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't him they touched.
It wasn't me they touched. It was another flight commander they touched that got him fired. They were supervising this other flight commander. They were a student squadron commander. They tapped this flight commander in the chest, and that was the wrong thing to do because this particular flight commander who got tapped on the chest was a former cop. And he said, you just committed a battery, and I'm going to report you right now to the commander, and that's it. And he did. My boss, the commander at the time, tried to get him to shut up, and he said, I'm not shutting up. This is a battery. I'm not shutting up.
It was a student?
No, it was another flight commander. One of them was the supervisor, and the other one was the subordinate.
Oh, one was the student squadron commander who got tapped by the flight commander.
Other way around. One was the student squadron commander who tapped the flight commander.
But let's just fast forward it several years later to where I am now working with this individual who was an asshole. And because this individual knew that I was married to your father, he instantly assumed that I was cool because your dad was never a dick to him. And your dad was always professional. So he proceeded, like, after having just met me, to tell me how much he hates working with women and how useless they are. But he's telling me this, like, on a buddy-buddy level because he assumes that I'm cool and like him.
How fucking unself-aware do you have to be to realize, hey, like, you do realize that I am a woman, right?
Yeah,
right, but he didn't mean me. He just meant, you know, women.
You're cool.
You're one of the good ones.
A lot of his best friends are women.
Who?
Yeah, I have plenty of friends that are women.
So my point is that even with all of the things that you said, son, all of the degrees, all of this vetting, all of the interviewing, all of the process that we went through to get people in there who had a heart for training and who really wanted to help people make their dreams come true, which is really what it was all about. This guy just liked being in power, and he didn't like women, and that was obvious. And eventually it got him fired, as it should have.
Yeah, well, you're proving my point. Because of all the people, specifically one of them who had training, ironically, as a cop, he got reported and ousted immediately. That's not what happens with cops.
It wasn't immediate. He worked there for over a year before that happened. In fact, over 2 years before that happened.
After the incident?
Before the incident.
Well, but to Nick's point here, I mean, this guy was a dick there, was a dick when he worked with me 10 years later or so. He's still fucking in the military.
And he's still a dick.
Yeah, so when you say he was fired, it's not like he was really fired, okay? He
Yeah,
was demoted
he
from
moved.
whatever the fuck he was, but he's moved, just like Nick was saying. Just like they move these cops around, just like bad priests.
That's true. He has gotten 2 promotions since then. So
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Right.
And he's not done yet.
So the military is just like the police force and the priesthood.
Only worse. Hey, speaking of which, the first Air Force general to get court-martialed is going to get court-martialed. It's a guy named Major General Cooley, who used to be the commander of the Air Force Research Center until he was relieved by General Arnold Bunch, the commander of Air Force Material Command, for
That's a funny name.
sexual...
Arnold Bunch.
That's his name. Don't wear it out.
Goofy ass
Commander
name.
Bunch.
Yeah, Commander Bunch.
Try General Bunch.
General Bunch.
You really got to put some sauce on his name anytime you say it.
A little
Everybody
zhuzh.
listen up. My name's General Bunch.
Which is
We're going to be running the show a little bit differently around here.
Yeah, because General Bunch is a portmanteau of butt and munch. General Bunch. Anyway, the point is that he referred General Cooley to a court-martial because of an alleged sexual assault that took place in 2018 involving some groping, some buttock handling, apparently, of a civilian employee in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Buttock handling. That sounds like an Olympic sport.
And here we come.
No.
They're
Buttock
at the line.
handling.
The buttocks are exposed, and here comes the handling. Oh, it's very fast, and it's a winner.
Oh my God, he's scrunching those buttocks. He's scrunching them tight.
And here comes the scores. 8.7, 9.2, and there it is, the perfect 8.8.
That was pretty good.
All right, thank you. So he's going to get court-martialed, and it's the first time an Air Force general has ever been court-martialed.
Well, we got him. Good job, you know?
So
We saved the Air Force from sexual harassment.
And so the scourge of sexual assault was forever ended in the Air Force.
Right,
Well,
except for
forever
when I
banned.
was harassed twice last week,
Yeah, you did face sexual harassment twice last week. That's true.
which is super annoying. Like, I'm in my 40s, okay? I'm too old for this shit.
But you still look real cute. I know that's not an excuse.
You
but
see,
I'm
now
saying-
you're kind of sexually harassing her. You get
But she signed up for that
Yeah.
when she accepted the ring.
you get a pass.
No, that's not. I imagine
He's allowed to
Listen,
call his wife cute, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
It seemed a little appropriate.
But he said it in a way that made it sound like, yeah, you should expect to get harassed.
That's
Yeah,
true.
well, what were you wearing?
What do you
Because
expect?
I thought you were hot that morning, so, you know.
I thought you put on a little too much makeup to be complaining about getting attention from men that morning, but that's just me.
I'm surprised I
say
didn't
this.
get hit for looking too cute. You know what I mean? Like, knowing my place.
Well, you know when to shut the fuck up.
As if I'm some kind of violent monster. Good grief. I
Honey, this
am,
cup
but
of
still.
Folgers was a little bit undersatisfactory this morning. You know what that means. Perhaps I'll go next door and see if Miss Jones has any better coffee. See if Miss Jones gives a fuck.
You know what? There are those old coffee commercials that are just absolutely sexist.
Harvey, want anything special for your birthday?
Just a decent cup of coffee.
You're kidding.
I'm serious. Honey, your coffee's undrinkable.
It's pretty harsh.
Well, so's your coffee. You know, the girls down at the office make better coffee on their hot plates.
We watch those. They are appalling.
They're hilarious.
I mean, it's not awesome, but it is awesome.
It's so appalling that it comes back around.
Yeah, it comes back around. So offensive and wrong that it comes back around into awesome in an ironic way.
It's awesome in that it fills you with awe.
In the truly literal sense.
Yeah. You ever see the video of those kids who went to like a beach or a boardwalk or something and they had like a lunch tray full of like those mini Pringles containers? They take just a shitload of laxatives and like mash them into the Pringles and shit, and then just leave them out. And then seagulls come and obviously eat the Pringles and the laxatives. I'm sure they died later.
Dear
too.
God.
Yeah, but it was literally a shit storm. And it sounds like if you're like, hey, let's mix up a bunch of laxatives in some fucking trash food and let the seagulls eat it, you would think that's probably doesn't work like that. You know what I mean?
No,
But
it does.
It did. Yeah, it was great. I was like, that is a fucking awesome prank.
But it seems cruel to the seagulls.
Yes.
Have you ever met a seagull?
Yeah, seagulls are monsters. I've seen also a video of a seagull swallowing a baby rabbit whole.
So they deserve, therefore, to be force-fed laxatives as a species?
They were happy to eat those laxatives.
They were
They might have been
tricked.
duped.
That was a feast.
Speaking of feasts, did you know that Fancy Feast, the cat food, has come out with a cookbook so you can cook yourself a companion meal to what you are feeding your cat?
It's a cookbook for fancy
people.
cat food?
No.
Or you use cat food and now it's
Neither.
like you can use Fancy Feast in this fucking...
No, you were just giving more money to the Fancy Feast Corporation. You see it because you feed your cat Fancy Feast and want to experience the same dining extravaganza as your cat.
You're
with people
feeding your
food.
cat Fancy Feast and now you will eat Fancy Feast. Turn into a cat.
No, so what's going to happen? That's not what happens. What happens is there's a cookbook and you serve your cat Fancy Feast. All right, here you go, cat. Here's the feast. Wow. And then you use this cookbook then to make yourself human food that accompanies your cat's Fancy Feast.
Why do you need a cookbook from Fancy Feast to eat dinner while your cat eats food?
Because you're a fucking crazy cat person, dude.
Okay.
That's why.
I get, yeah. I just don't even, like, what was the pitch in the boardroom for this?
Exactly
Like-
that. You know how they do like wine pairings with food to like accentuate the flavors and shit? Accentuate your fucking crazy ass eccentricity by making yourself a meal from the same people that you feed from your cat.
So it's like a Blue Apron type deal?
It's literally a fucking cookbook. I don't know how to make this any more simple for you.
I don't get what...
There's an index that says, so you fed your cat salmon Fancy Feast. Turn to page 86. You turn to page 86. It says, would you like some salmon today? Here's a recipe that mocks what your cat's palate. Okay, so you can really experience the same
Because
shit.
they got different Fancy Feast flavors. for the
Yeah.
cat. And so then you get in there and it's like, all right, you fed your cat soft
Well, so
pretzels.
you don't feed it before. You feed it at the same time. You guys are both sitting at a table, candles
Together.
lit. You crack open the thing after your plate is sitting, waiting, steaming. Plop it on the fucking plate. Your cat sits at the table.
Meow. Like, so you fed your cat salmon today. Turn to page 37. You turn to page 37. Says, now turn to page 42. And then you do that. It says, now turn to page 187. And then you do that. And it says, get a fucking life, you freak.
Now go fuck yourself.
You dumb freak.
But page
$30.
137 is scented with the Fancy Feast
Yeah,
flavor.
just smells like the cat shit. Sometimes when my cat shits, it smells exactly like when I open the food. And I'm like, the smell is exactly the same, yet somehow my brain knows that it's feces. And it's like just abominizing it. You know what I mean? If I can say that.
I don't think abominizing is a word, but I think it should be. Way to turn abomination into a verb.
Demonificates it.
Demonificates it?
Yeah.
I'm glad that happened to you. Hey, did you watch the UFC fights?
Yeah, they were pretty good,
I was
actually.
at work, but I did see I saw the highlights on Reddit.
I guess Usman's the real deal.
Yeah. He wasn't expecting that stand-up game. That was as clean a right hook as there ever was.
Did you guys see the 2 fucking broken legs that happened?
No, I heard about it. Raleigh texted me. He's like, "Did you see what happened to Chris Weidman?" He's like, "If you didn't see it, don't look it up." He's like, "I wish I didn't see it." He's like, "It's almost pretty much just another Anderson Silva." And then Anthony Smith did it to Jimmy Crute.
Kind of. He just landed a kick behind Jimmy Crute's knee.
I saw
it fucked his leg. It like made it so that he couldn't control his leg anymore.
Yeah, his leg was like.
It was instant nerve damage.
Yeah, which is crazy. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could say it was a good fight. Was that the first round?
It was at the very end of the first round. Like he landed it as the buzzer happened.
That's so crazy.
So what's this broken leg I'm not supposed to see?
Look up Chris Weidman broken leg.
Chris Weidman.
You'll regret it.
Chris Weidman broke somebody's leg, or Chris Weidman's leg broke?
Yeah, his leg broke.
It turned to jelly.
You remember what happened to Anderson Silva?
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I did.
So I don't need to watch it because the screen capture for one of the videos shows the leg as it's bending in this very unnatural way, and I've seen all I need to see.
Yeah.
It was Uriah Hall. Uriah Hall did that to Chris
God
Weidman.
Yeah.
He did the hell out of it.
And he felt so bad, dude, because he knew that was a career-ending fucking injury.
Yeah,
and it wasn't anyone's fault.
And you're saying Anthony Smith did the same damn thing or a similar thing to Jimmy Crute?
Somehow Anthony Smith just kicked this dude in the back of the knee so hard and at just the right angle that it like severed the nerves in his fucking leg, and he just couldn't use it.
Yeah.
And then the ref was like, "Well, if you can't fucking
walk on your leg,
then
you're
the
done."
fight's over, I guess.
The doctor called it off.
And Jimmy Crute had a pretty good record going into that fight, 12-1.
He's a good fighter.
And he was doing pretty well. Even after he fucked up his leg, he took Anthony down a couple times. And Anthony's like, I didn't really put any effort into it because I saw how fucked up his leg was and I didn't want to. So.
That's the thing about Anthony Smith is like you think that he's going to lose. Like sometimes he's getting his ass kicked and then he just wins. There's a lot of fights where
Did
he
you
should
know
have
he's
lost.
6'4"?
I believe it. He was like as close to the same height as John Jones. John Jones is tall as fuck.
Yeah.
I seen a video once when riots were like sweeping the entire country. It was like a crowd of people rioting. Some dude had spray paint. He was like spray painting the side of the thing. And John Jones just walked up and was like, "Give me that motherfucking spray paint can." And the dude just hands, he's like, "Get the fuck out of here." And then the dude ran away. And you're like, holy shit. Like, if you were out looting and John Jones walks up to you, was like, "Give me that shit and get the fuck out of here." You better just pray.
That's all he does.
Yeah, be happy that he gave you the chance to run away.
People say that about me all the time. Yeah, Wei Li, she got starched, didn't she?
Yep.
Skull fucked.
Nama Nunes fucking kicked her in the head.
And knocked her ass out, right?
Starched her. She was pissed.
I'm happy about it, though.
When she woke up.
It's redemption for Namajunas, though, right?
Nama Nunes. Rose Nama Nunes is her name.
Nanner Jimmy.
Banana Smith.
I'm calling her Rose from now on.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, it was redemption for Rose.
Wei Li won the belt from Jacek. Remember when Jacek had that big hematoma?
Wei Li won the belt, but now it's Namajunas.
Nama Nunes.
Nama Nunes used to have the belt, did she not?
Nama Junes.
Mama June.
It's an instant rematch, isn't it? I mean, Wei Li's got to be the immediate rematch for Nama Nunes.
Yeah, if China lets her stay.
I'm sure they will. Just don't say anything bad and they'll let you live. Who is that Chinese billionaire that the Chinese government
disappeared?
ghosted?
Jack Ma. They made Jack Ma disappear for a few weeks to teach him a lesson about obedience, and he learned
Did he
it.
come back?
Oh, yeah. He's back now, and he's very obedient.
Yeah, I'm sure. I would be too. It's not worth it.
Not only did Wei Li get starched, but like as Keith Peterson, the ref, was helping her back up, and like she was like wobbling even as she stood up. But then like when she regained consciousness, she like tried to argue that she wasn't knocked out.
Yeah.
I was conscious the whole time.
Yeah, well.
Her eyes were never closed. They were simply in the back of her head.
Just because you saw the whites doesn't mean that I was unconscious.
They just rolled back during the height of demonification.
She was about to unleash her ultimate form.
Yeah, she's about to activate her devil man powers.
Her Super Saiyan Mach 5.
Super Saiyan 7 devil man.
And she does that by aligning her pupils with her retinas.
That's the secret Konami code.
That's the ancient Chinese secret.
Oh, shit.
Dope.
We were talking about this. I went out to lunch with my coworkers fairly recently, and they had mentioned Ben Askren fighting that YouTube fucking person getting starched. Ben Askren can afford to be a fool because he still got paid $500,000 for it.
We talked about that last time.
We did.
You know.
I'll cut all that out.
Why? Because I brought up something that we talked about before? Like, you motherfuckers never do that shit?
We wait a few months.
No, you do not.
Sometimes we do.
you wait about 35 seconds before repeating what you said.
No.
Because you couldn't remember that you said it.
No.
That's only because we're high on marijuana, honey.
Yeah.
Oh, but you can remember the fucking conversation the podcast we had 2 fucking episodes ago and cut my contribution out.
Sarah, all the cool kids are smoking marijuana now.
I get drug tested, Nick, or else I would join you, and maybe I wouldn't be so fucking irate all the time.
It really might help with your anger. It helps with mine.
It sure does.
Really does a bang-up job on the PTSD, I have to say.
Oh my God, he almost beat the shit out of all the animals the other day just because they were looking at him funny while he ate.
Right.
I'm just trying to eat my goddamn cereal. Get the fuck out of here. He was so mad.
I feel that in my soul.
It wasn't quite like that, but it was kind of like that. Because the animals, I'm bringing a bowl of cereal to the place I normally sit. There's a cat sitting there on the table looking at me like, hey, you bringing me something, motherfucker? Then the dog's right to my left hand. Like, hey, is that my cereal, motherfucker? Like, get the fuck off me, you furry fucking parasite.
You know what part of the problem is, Dad?
What?
And I have this exact same problem. It's that you're working from home now. So you don't leave the house. So like you spend so much more fucking time with these goddamn animals that you can read the nuance in their expression. You knew that cat was insulting you, and you knew that dog would rip that bowl out of your hands. And sure, to the outside layman, okay, it looked unreasonable, but you knew that those motherfuckers were testing you.
That they were communicating in a language that only they could hear, and they were laughing at you.
Yeah.
But you can
Talking
pick up
shit
on
at
it
you.
now, okay? Because you've started to sync to their frequency, all right?
They all called you crazy, but now you can hear it.
Yeah.
You can hear them laughing at you.
Those motherfuckers.
I get it, man. Moose
You
earlier
shins
was
need
just
help.
standing next to me. He wasn't doing nothing.
Moose.
In fact, I was talking to Murphy, who was across the room, and he was just standing an inch away from me. I'm like, I can feel the body heat radiating off you, and I can tell that you're insulting me. Go away. Go away.
He want to be next to you. He love you.
He loved me too much.
I'm sure that's true.
The point is that seems completely reasonable to me, Dad.
All right, thank you. I didn't ask for this validation, but I'm drinking it up.
Yeah, Dad has this natural-born hatred of animals that I just did not get
I'm
from him.
pretty sure I inherited that
Yeah, I did.
straight from the source.
I fucking love animals. Love them all.
And yet, Sarah, how many pets do you have again?
You know what it is I can't say no to my wife. She's too fucking cute.
To me wife.
Oh, so these are all Murphy's pets.
Yeah.
Absolutely 100%.
Okay, that's making sense to me. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you and your father that you find yourselves attracted to people who are attracted to getting a lot of animals, but you're going to have to just get over that shit.
Look, we haven't killed them all yet, have we? The cat and the dog are still alive, aren't they? And Dad ate his cereal.
However much you hate animals now, and however many pets you have now, there used to be more. You used to have more pets. More birds, ferret.
The ferret died
lizards.
of natural causes.
Okay, yeah, but the birds got eviscerated by...
The cat that's now died of
that
natural
is
causes.
Also died of natural causes.
Well, I'm glad you've had a die-off. I don't know what that says about your level of care, but it could just be natural causes, as you say. In any
it
event,
was, except for the birds.
They don't do tox tests on animals,
That
is all
was
I'm
stone
saying.
cold murder, baby.
I did find the head of the anyway, whatever. And I'm always why the fuck am I always on cleanup duty?
we don't know. None of us know that, Sarah. But we know this. And that is that I apologize to those animals for being mean to them. I apologize to both of them individually and collectively.
But not until later when you got high and were nice and happy again. Hours and hours later, you get high and you're like, I'm sorry, guys.
That's why marijuana is prescribed for PTSD. Full stop.
You know what, man? Maybe those animals ain't so bad after all. I think I'm going to go apologize to them.
Come here, Lucy. Come get a sniff of this.
It's Lily.
And I know that because it's the same as my dog.
Come here, Lily.
But he says it wrong. Come here, Lucy. Get a
right, exactly.
Love you, bye.
Bye.
Oh, she doesn't love you.
I'm still irate, okay? Like, I still got the anger.
You've been irate. I don't know if you need to get higher an orgasm, but I hope that you get something real, real good.
Let's go get some Sonic.
Let's get ice cream.
You want to come with?
Yes.
All right.
A Shin Show is a production of Shinfluence. It features the voices and opinions of the Shin family, which are entirely and exclusively their own. Join us each week on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks as always to our regular listeners.
We love to hear from you. Please email us at ashinshow@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.